biggest challenges that an organization is facing today? So Nicola, you have been part of MSc Management for almost 9 years, if I'm right? Hello everyone and welcome back to the AY podcast, a podcast where we have real, honest conversations about ambition, academia, and everything for which nobody prepares us for. Thank you so much for coming back to the episode. I am Anusha Sinha, your host. And before moving forward, let me talk about the first episode. Thank you so very much for showing us the love and the people who reshared it and spoke to us and gave us the feedbacks. It means a lot to us and it shows us that we are talking about the right things. So thank you once again. Now today's guest, I've been looking forward for this conversation for a while now. She's an associate professor, a researcher, and someone who has spent nearly a decade shaping the experience of business student at postgraduate level. Please welcome Nicola Smith to the AY podcast. Nicola, we are so happy to have you here today.
It's a real pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's go to the right beginning from where everything started, because a lot of our listeners are still figuring it out how to go ahead and how to do things. So Nicola, what was your plan, and did you actually took the inspiration that you want to go into academia and business research?
This absolutely wasn't the plan. I would say that I would probably say this is my third career. When I started out, I had no idea that I would end up working in academia, that I'd end up in business and in the business school. It was just a case of, I guess, following my interest, following my the opportunities that I had. So certainly it wasn't a master plan. I'm really lucky that I ended up where I did. I was in my middle 30s before I found what I would consider to be my niche, which is where I am now. And it might be tempting, I think, to say I wish I'd found it earlier, but I really think that the early career experiences I had shaped me. But the thing I guess that's always been with me throughout my whole career is an interest in people. I'm hugely interested in people and what they do, why they do what they do. And so I think really I've probably ended up in just the right place for me.
So Nicola, in your expertise, what are the biggest challenges that an organization is facing today?
I think when we're talking about an organisation like the university, so if I'm kind of putting this into the context of my own experience within an organisation, I'm majorly focused on student education. And I think that we need to be thinking about how we provide an education in the way that suits our users, the students. So the way that students kind of consume information is very different to how it was. We can't be in a situation where we're sitting students down for 2-hour lectures anymore. They don't seem to be working. So I think it's about being agile and changing the way that we kind of teach so that everybody can get the best out of it. And I think the other big thing obviously on the horizon is AI. This is going to have an effect on so much in every kind of organisation, but certainly in kind of universities, we need to be thinking about how we harness the power of AI, but also how we prepare our students for going into a workplace where intelligent machines are going to be their co-workers. So I think these are kind of the big questions that we're dealing with right now, this idea of like the changing way that people learn, but also the advent of AI and how we kind of address that as an institution.
Absolutely, like how ones get related to an organization, like we are talking about university, and how university prepares us for different aspects of life that plays a very important role.
Absolutely, 100%. I think we've got a duty to do that as best we can, and that's what we need to think about.
Correct, thank you. As an associate professor, what qualities do you think today's business students genuinely need to thrive on?
I think we need to really emphasise the human skills that we have, because we're entering an era where knowledge, whilst it's still going to be very important, of course, is going to be very easy to attain if we think about AI again. So for me, I think we need to consider how we guide students towards the application of knowledge in particular contexts. We need to be thinking about how we help students to develop those very human skills that can't be replicated by a machine, and that they go out and they're kind of confident to use those skills. I think very often we get students who have a focus on kind of passing tests and those kinds of things. And I think we maybe should try to move people away from that mindset, because I think the people who will be most successful in the future are those who are open to different ways of learning, who are willing to kind of have a go, who can really work in teams, who can show empathy, who are open to learning continuously. So kind of encouraging those traits in our students, I think is really important, because I do think those are the things that will serve people well as they kind of move into the future. I mean, would you agree that that's something that you think, like these human skills that students need to kind of...
Yeah, because this, adding to what you just said, that is like a fact that AI will never completely replace humans, because the quality we're talking, the emotions, empathy, sympathy, that cannot be replicated by an AI. That human touch has to be there to sustain in today's scenario. AI does play a crucial part nowadays, because we can see that it's evolving a lot, but it cannot totally replace humans.
Yeah, absolutely not. And this is why I think that, you know, those people who can really kind of emphasize their very human skills that are absolutely not something that AI can do are going to be the ones perhaps who meet the best outcomes.
Absolutely. So Nicola, you have been part of MSc Management for almost 9 years, if I'm right?
I led it for 9 years, yes.
Yeah, and you were the program director of MSc Management. So what changes did you implement, and what was the most, according to you, made the most impact out of it?
It's quite a difficult question, this, because over 9 years a lot does change. Certainly I would say that I wasn't alone in this, so I was really lucky to have fantastic mentors, a great team of people working around me. One of my major focuses was always to listen to the students and what the students wanted and needed. And so there were often quite a lot of changes happening, you know, some quite minor, some more major. Obviously COVID hit in the middle of my tenure, so that was interesting and challenging. It was quite a fight to keep everything running as it should. We suddenly saw a huge upswing in student numbers because people had more time. The world stopped, they had time to study. So that was quite a challenge. But I guess one of the things that I was always keen on was ensuring that every student had the chance to succeed. So we treat MSc Management as a conversion course, and we take students from any background, so long as they've achieved a certain level of study. So I was keen to always make sure that it didn't matter whether you had studied arts or humanities or STEM subjects, that you had equal opportunity to be successful on the course. And equally to that as well, it didn't matter what your kind of language background was or your nationality, that you did have the chance to succeed. And, you know, I was really pleased actually when we did review the data, and it showed that no matter what your background, the way that we were teaching and delivering this course actually gave everyone equal opportunity to succeed. So for me, that was a big proud moment, sort of knowing that we were doing it in the right way. And we've continued to see kind of steady high numbers on the programme, lots of success, and yeah, I've now passed it over to a colleague who I'm absolutely certain will continue that. Yeah.
So just an interesting fact for the listener, when I was coming here and deciding to study MSc Management, Nicola was the first person whom I spoke to from India, an online virtual conversation. And this was made sure that from whichever background you are, I was from the humanities background, by the way. She was like, it's very clear from whatever background you are, whatever you are studying, you will get into it and you will thrive your way out and succeed. Yeah. So thank you so much for that as well.
No, it was, I will always remember the conversation that we had actually. It was really nice to be able to speak to you, and then to see you on that first day when everybody was registering. It was a really nice full circle moment for me. So yeah, well done on making it here and making it through.
Thank you. So AI is reshaping everything, and it is the talk of the town now and then, and students feel very low-key or anxious about things like, will their degree matter, what they are studying right now, will they be able to relate it? So Nicola, I'm asking it to you that what do you think a student should prioritize, and how they can see that AI cannot replace what they are doing right now?
Yeah, so I think in my mind, what students should be looking at kind of developing is their ability to apply knowledge within a context rather than retain that knowledge. So rather than memorising facts, what they need to be thinking about is how does this knowledge that I'm gaining kind of matter in a particular context? How can I apply it kind of ethically and in a way that a machine could never do? So I think that's a really kind of key part of kind of what people need to consider as they move into their career. And also I'm going to kind of revisit, I guess, what I've said already, which is that social skills are hugely important. There was a nice article actually about a month ago in the Financial Times by a guy called John Byrne Murdoch, and he talked about how social skills correlate more highly with kind of earning potential than technical skills alone. So it's coming out of the data that essentially if you're strong in social skills, if you're able to, have those very human skills that you can't replicate with a machine, then your potential for earning is much better. So I think, just emphasising the very human side of your existence and your ability is super important for future success.
Yeah, like students should understand that it's always the mix of your personality, what you learn, implement, and how you execute it.
Yes.
And you can definitely back that with some part of AI in that will definitely enhance it, but not totally depend on
AI.
I
mean, we're going to be in a position where essentially knowledge can be looked up, in minutes on a machine. Absolutely. Sometimes. But what you need to be able to do is really contextualize that, think about, how it matters, how it might affect other humans, and really have the more creative thoughts, I guess, about how you deal with that knowledge. So for me, that's kind of an important thing to think about, certainly when you're coming in and doing a degree, not just thinking about knowledge, memorising, passing tests, it's about application of knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. That is actually reassuring that we are in the right direction.
Yeah. Definitely.
So today's students are really under pressure, whether we say academically, socially, financially. So there's a lot of things. How important do you think resilience is in actual shaping future businesses, like business leaders?
Yeah, I think resilience is a key skill. It's obviously something that can be developed over time. We're always going to meet setbacks. There are always going to be situations that don't quite go to plan, things that don't come to fruition, that job you don't get, or maybe even in your personal life relationships fail. So we need to develop some way of overcoming that. And I think we can't just expect people to instantly bounce back from things like that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that, we need to, I guess, take the learning out of those situations. You're probably sick of hearing me say this, but I'm a really big advocate for reflection, for sitting back, thinking about what's happened and thinking about how that might guide us in the future. I think certainly if you're going to be a leader, you need to develop a level of resilience, because I think a good leader, takes accountability when things go wrong, but really learns from that failure and it helps them to improve as they move forward. So resilience, I would say, is like a key skill to develop. But again, sometimes people aren't where they want to be. This is like a muscle that can be exercised and grown. So, definitely important, I think. If you're going to be a good leader, you need a certain level of resilience. Yeah.
Definitely. If I connect, to me, it's very heartfelt that resilience can give me the push, how I carry forward myself as an individual. And talking of being a leader, the motivation and the resilience plays a very crucial role to keep us moving forward.
I think so, absolutely. I think sometimes it is the things that go wrong that teach us the most, that we learn the most from. So we've just got to keep on keeping on.
Yes, absolutely. As a woman in academia and business studies, how do you feel that there has been gender equality, and how do you think there's still need of some changes in aspects to maintain that equality?
I mean, well, the UK is certainly a very patriarchal society, still a persistent gender pay gap. We still find a lack of women in leadership positions. There's still unequal division of household labour, for example. From a personal standpoint, I feel like I've been very lucky. I've had some fantastic leaders in kind of academic settings who have perhaps shielded me from feeling the worst effects of that. But also I do think that maybe in our sector in universities, there's still perhaps in some pockets an old boys club kind of feel. And also maybe an expectation placed on women that we do more of the pastoral role, so we perhaps tend to be found more often in roles that involve the kind of more caring and nurturing side of things, maybe even being asked more often to do those kinds of roles than our male colleagues. I think sometimes there's just an expectation that as a female you are going to be more caring, and I don't certainly think it's something that's just in our sector. In fact, my sister-in-law is a professional sports coach and just had a paper published last year that showed as well in professional sports coaching, women are expected to be the more caring or nurturing individual. So I certainly think there's room for us to move towards more gender equality. But I guess the light at the end of the tunnel for me has been that in the past few years we've actually seen more females coming to the MSc Management programme than males. So more kind of female managers graduating than male managers. So, you know, who knows, perhaps we're going to see, you know, a change in the next few years.
MSc Management could be the wave for a change where we see female faces coming up more than male.
One can hope, yeah, absolutely.
You led the MSc Management in the world where it was before COVID and after COVID. So two very different scenarios. So how was the changes in the learning processes, and how can we relate it what the employers want before it and after COVID period?
Yeah, I mean, COVID was incredibly hard on everybody, but I think it was especially hard on younger people who missed out on so many opportunities for socialisation and experiences, certainly in education. A lot of people did full degrees where they didn't see their campus. So certainly something that I noticed after COVID is that there was perhaps a little more of a struggle socially for some students. And then immediately after COVID, we were getting students on campus who were literally having their first time on campus and maybe a little bit too relaxed about their learning. But things have settled again now, but I do think there was a shift in the kind of maybe social abilities of students. And I'll say that maybe was due to COVID, but it might also be down to our kind of very strong reliance these days on technology, essentially, to communicate. And the reason I raise that is because I often speak with employers as part of the work that I do, and one of the things that they say that they are particularly worried about is the students' abilities to communicate, and particularly communicating, say, face-to-face or on the telephone, which might sound rather minor in kind of the grand scheme of things, but ultimately, if you are a business owner, what you want is staff who can make your customers, your service users feel comfortable, that, you know, can chat with them, can speak with them on the phone. And I've even spoken to employers who have said, well, if a student can't make small talk with me, then they're out of the running for a job, which is sad. So I think, yeah, definitely this idea of being maybe a little more skilled in communicating face-to-face would really help. You know, if you can develop that kind of skill, I think that is always a real benefit to you. But yeah, I think maybe that's one of the things that I'm perhaps noticed most sort of pre and post-COVID.
Yeah, because during COVID, everything went online. The learning process shifted.
Yeah.
And once, like after COVID, and having that in-person learning is very different from online learning. I personally speaking,
oh yeah,
there's a major difference in learning online and being there in the class and interacting with the professors and getting to learn there gives you two different, I think, horizons to learn.
Yeah.
And just being there on computer, you are in your comfort zone, I should say.
Yeah.
And you are not that much serious that time, but being in a classroom, the environment is way different.
Yeah, there's a richness to being in the classroom with people and having the more in-depth conversations and discussions, and that we tried very hard in COVID to replicate, but we couldn't really kind of bring to people as successfully as actually having them in front of us. And I think the other change that I've seen as well is an anxiety in students, certainly around on-campus exams and things like that. I mean, I think it's natural to be nervous about examinations, but actually if you have come through the kind of latter part of your education and everything was maybe online, or you were able to do open book exams, suddenly being thrown into an on-campus exam can be a really stressful experience, like completely understandably. So those kinds of things as well have kind of been an upshot of that period of time where people were really prevented from being on campuses.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
This one is a really important question, and I'm glad we are talking on these grounds, because a lot of students come from different backgrounds where scoring 90s is a norm. But coming here in UK where 60 holds a really good ground and it's a really good score. So how do you think students should adapt to it and adjust to the scoring system?
It's difficult. I won't deny it. It's a really difficult situation to find yourself in if you've gone through your educational career and been, used to getting 90, 80s, 90s, even up to 100. When you come here and you find you're being told that you're doing well, but you're achieving in the 60s, it can be quite a different thing to experience. I think one of the things I always try to do is early in the programme, before marks are received, talk about the marks as much as possible, try to contextualise things, talk to students about the fact that the vast majority of our modules have kind of averages in the middle 60s, emphasise the need to not just look at the mark but also look at the marking criteria. But of course the first time that mark arrives it can be quite stressful, and I completely understand that, and I wonder sometimes whether perhaps the most stressful part isn't the student receiving the mark itself, but then actually reporting that back to family and friends and peers who have been so used to that student getting really high marks. So I think we can work really hard to contextualise it for the students, but then they have the busy kind of job of trying to balance the expectations of maybe parents and kind of family members around that. So it is a difficult thing. I will admit it's a difficult thing, but honestly, 60s, good. We consider that good.
Yeah. I remember our very first session and orientation, you were like, you will have to explain it to your parents that these are the parameters, these are the markings. You have to tell them that these are good scores.
Yes.
You're doing well.
Yes. I do try very hard to kind of get in early and say, please don't be sad about this.
Yeah.
It is how it will be. And in this context, if you get something in the 80s or 90s, wow.
Yeah, because students are so habitual in adjusting their scores in such a way that they feel sad or disheartened that, I couldn't make it. And now the next step, how should I tell it to my family or my close ones that am I going to be judged on those grounds? But the systems are different. They need to understand that. And
but still, like you say, it is an emotional reaction, and I completely understand the difficulties involved. It can be stressful, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So every student who is listening, you all are doing well in life. So marks will not define you. Just keep on learning, keep on getting new things, adapt to new things, learn more, and don't just stick to your scores. Yes, scores are important, I'm not denying that, but they will not define you, they will not make your future or career goals. But just keep the scoring patterns of UK and India or anywhere else, that they are different marking systems, and anything above 60, you are doing great. So
True.
So it's the dissertation season, which has already begun. So what are you going to tell our listeners, students? What is the common mistake while they are starting, they end up doing it and they don't keep that in mind?
So yes, I've been supervising dissertations for kind of over a decade now, and I think the really big mistake that I see so often is people who leave starting late. And I completely understand why. You've had a stressful couple of semesters, you're tired after all of the assessment, but honestly, you need to get going on that dissertation. We see kind of students who leave it until July or even August to kind of get themselves started, and it pretty much guarantees a poor outcome. And so I guess just starting early and also engaging with your supervisor. We give you a supervisor because we think you need a supervisor. You aren't prepared really to do this on your own. We have that support there for you. So engaging with the supervisor is really important. They will be the person ultimately who marks the work as well. So having that relationship with them, talking to them about your plans, ensures that they're sure that you did the work as well. We don't have any academic integrity concerns. You know, has this person actually done the work? Well, yes, we had several conversations with them about it. We're pretty certain they did. And I think just another big mistake is kind of a lack of routine. So obviously when you're in the first and second semesters, you have classes to go to, you rise in the morning, you get ready, you come onto campus. And I think when that structure is removed, sometimes people can get a little bit relaxed. So if you can, try to keep a routine, I would say. Try to kind of maintain that kind of working routine for yourself. It may be that you work better on an evening, but even if that's the case, have a routine around it. Kind of try and stick to it and try and make yourself do it. Because I think, you know, the dissertation itself, it's 20% smart work, but kind of 80% just hard work and grind of getting that work done. So, you know, there are certain ways to do that, and I think starting early, being in a routine, they are two really key things that will help you through to the end. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful, much needed to keep those two key rules and to go with the dissertation.
Yeah, and supervisor is always there for you. That's what they're there for. They're there to kind of prod you in the right direction, make sure that, you know, you don't kind of meet any insurmountable problems, to, you know, gently guide you towards the right outcomes. And so really, like, use them for what they're there for.
Absolutely. Okay, final question. I've been saving this question for the last one before the hot seat.
Okay.
So, one honest piece of advice for business students before they graduate.
I think this probably won't come as a surprise to you, but I think it's so important for people to think about what they actually want. You know, very often people have reached this stage in their education, and if they've not had time out or kind of time to step back from their education, very often their choices have been very much influenced by kind of parents or advisors. And I don't know how many of our students have really sat down and thought about what their motivations are, what their personalities are like, and what really drives them in life. And so I kind of want our students to have that time, I hope, while they're with us here, thinking about who they are and what motivates them, because you've got one life and it's your life. You've got to make the choices that make you happy, not the choices that make someone else happy. You know, it's not simply about chasing kind of the most money or perhaps even the most prestigious career if that's not what really motivates you. So for me, I guess that the kind of key piece of advice is, you know, make decisions based on your own personal goals and not on the ambitions that others have for you. It's your life. You've got one only, you know, make the most of it.
Absolutely. Where you take one decision that might get wrong, that might be not the correct one, but at every step, if you keep questioning yourself, that is the path which your heart and brain has to be on the same page, and you decide and you go ahead. You do have opinions and everything, but what as an individual you want to do. For me also, I'm from the humanities background, but right now I'm here, I'm learning business. So I'm wearing a restart hoodie. So it was actually a restart for me, that how I took my journey and I took a decision that, okay, I did study humanities, but now my interest has shifted. I seen in my family that people have been from the management background, or they are starting their startups, doing so many things. So that gave me the push to come here and learn and get into business.
That's amazing. We're so lucky to have people that come to us who really have had that chance to be out there, think about what they want to do and decide, I am going to make that restart, I am going to reset, I'm going to make the decision that suits me, rather than simply following a path that maybe I feel like has been predetermined for me. You're talking to somebody here who's on what I call my third career as well, so I mean, I've been there, but I would like to, certainly encourage everybody to really think about, you know, what is it that motivates you, not other people, you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicola.
Thank you.
Coming to our most interesting round, which is the hot seat round. So, Nicola, you are not supposed to overthink. You have to give quick, fiery answers to us.
Okay.
And here we go. So, morning lectures or evening seminars?
Morning lectures.
Okay. Campus office or working from home?
Ooh, working from home.
If not academia, what career would you have chosen?
A farmer.
Oh, wonderful. Most challenging month in the academic year?
Ooh, I think for students, November. For me, I'd say March, actually.
If you had one extra hour in the day, how would you use it?
Probably sleeping. I'm chronically sleep deprived, so sleeping.
Makes sense. One word that defines an outstanding dissertation.
Simple, I think. Simple and clear. So
Beautiful.
That's 2 words, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, presentation skills or writing skills, which is more critical?
I think presentation skills.
Most valuable habit in the final semester?
Routine. I think I alluded to that earlier.
Yes.
Routine.
Work-life balance in academia, realistic or idealistic?
Oh, in semester, idealistic.
Thank you. And final, if you had to learn something completely new this year, what would you choose?
I'd like to know how to shoe a horse, or maybe even line dancing. Don't know.
Thank you so much, Nicola. It has been absolutely a journey of recording this episode, and sharing your insights means a lot.
It's been a real pleasure to be here. You know, congratulations on the podcast, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nicola, it has been a pleasure from the start to the finish. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and you have given so much clarity to students on different aspects and how to go and carry themselves forward. So I'm really, really grateful for you agreeing and coming to the podcast.
You're really welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. I mean, what you're doing is fantastic. And yeah, I was really honoured to be asked to be a part of your project. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And it's a wrap. If you resonate with this video, do share. Share it with your friends who are spiraled around dissertation. Share it with international students who feel 62% means a failure. Share it with anybody or everybody to give them the reminder that this degree is just the beginning. Subscribe us so you never miss any of our episodes update. Do come find us on our socials. I am Anusha Sinha. This is the AY podcast. Be curious, be kind. See you very soon.